Hi guys, and welcome to my 10,000 subscriber YouTube celebration. Thank you to all who entered. Best of luck to everyone. In this video, we're going to be announcing who the winners are, and I'm going to later on in the show explain to you how you guys can get your free HComp plugin from Waves. This is free to everyone who watches this live stream. So a couple of thank yous, obviously. First of all, thank you to you guys for subscribing and getting me to 10,000 subscribers. Obviously could not have done this without you guys. It's been amazing. I've learned so much from you guys. Your comments and your likes and your feedback are really helpful, and hopefully the channel's helpful for you guys as well. So thank you for all this. It's a fun part-time job in between my live shows. I'm playing drums professionally, which is what I do when I'm not YouTubing. But this gives me stuff to do during the week. Thank you all to who's commented in the comments already. I've got a couple of guests coming on to the show a little bit later, but I'm going to introduce those in a little while. Firstly, I need to say thank you to Audient, and particularly Chris and Andy as well at Audient for organizing the competition. They hosted this on Gleam on my behalf, which was amazing of them to do. And they donated the ID4 audio interface that one of you lucky people are going to win, which is amazing. And I've just realized I need some branding on my... there we go. All right. So 21 people are watching. Awesome, guys. So next thing I need to do is to thank Waves, who are sponsoring this live stream. Like I said, you are going to get a free plugin from them, but I'm going to announce that a little bit later. I'm going to bring on... We're going to announce one of the package, one of the plugin. We're going to announce one of the prize winners first. Then I'm going to introduce my first guest. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about my drum studio, and then talk about the drum package winner and announce that person, and then introduce my second guest. I've written third down. Excellent. And then we're going to get to the grand prize, which is the recording prize, where you could win microphones from Jay-Z, SE, plugins from Sonomus, Baby Audio, Tone Empire, and ClearTune monitor, in-ear monitors, and of course the Audient ID4 audio interface. Right. Before we get on with this, though, please let me know in the comments where you are all from. I'd love to know what where you're tuning in from. I did a test live stream the other day, and we had people from India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Australia, and one person in London. I think it was quite an eclectic mix from around the world, which is awesome. Right, before we get on to announcing the plugin package winner, I would like to say a big thank you to Sonomus, Tone Empire, and Baby Audio for donating these plugins. The winner of this prize is getting 5 plugins, and of course, every package is getting one of these snapback caps, which I will be sending out personally to you. Hi, Kevin from Indonesia. Welcome. Pure Fire is from Mid-Essex. I read that as Middle Earth for a second then. We've got Bilawal from Pakistan, Snowcloud from the Philippines, Ashish from India. Wow, all over the world. Glenn from Suffolk, VA. I guess that's in the States. Unique Lyrics from India. Het Pamper from Belgium. Cool. All right, lots of places. This is awesome. Aldas from Lithuania. Nice. I've not been to Lithuania. I'd like to go. Mind, I've not been to Sri Lanka or India or Pakistan as well. So when I come, I will come and visit you guys. Right. I think we should announce one of the winners. Let's get in there straight away. And I can tell you that this winner is from... Drumroll. Oh, something fell off my desk. This winner is from Australia. They are from Sydney. And by the name, I'd hazard a guess they have Russian background, but I could be wrong. So the winner of the plugin package is... and I've got some banners for this stuff. Okay, the winner... Let's get rid of that first. Bear with me, I'm using StreamYard for the first time. And we've already got problems such as the audio delay, which is going to be really highlighted when my guests join in a little while. So the winner of the plugin package is Nikolai Grimm. Congratulations. You need to email me, although I do have your email in front of me. So I will email you as well. My email is found on my YouTube information somewhere, but email me, Nikolai, if you see this. Congratulations. I will be sending you licenses for those plugins very shortly. Well done. Right, let's get a guest on. because we are going to have some fun later. I'm going to have some fun winding them up in a little bit, and then they're probably going to have some fun teasing me back. More people from Belfast. Nice. Do you like Belfast? Thessaloniki. I can't pronounce that. Greek. Somewhere in Greece. Anyway, welcome. Right. Let me get rid of this banner. Let's get some branding back on. There we go. And because one of my guests uses a similar color, I could almost go for this branding as well. But I'm going to introduce that person later. My first guest is Marlon from White Noise Studios. Welcome, Marlon. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Ed. How are you?
Excellent. Well, I'm good. Besides the pre-show stress that you were aware of with the audio sync, I'm blaming my GoPro. My GoPro. I'm just blaming other people today. I'm tired. I did 3 gigs yesterday, which is the first time I've done 3 gigs in a long time. So
yeah, I can imagine.
A little bit tired. So Marlon, you are rapidly approaching 5,000 subscribers on your channel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have any plans for your 5,000 subscriber celebration?
None whatsoever.
Excellent. Well, that was a short conversation. See you later. No, I'm kidding. Why not? Why not? I think you should. I think you should contact all the companies that you've worked with and give stuff away.
I actually haven't put any thought in it yet. I could do something, but yeah, 5K is a milestone. 10K is a much bigger milestone. So it depends a bit if I can arrange something in a good way. That's the main culprit.
In a good way. Okay. I mean, what kind of things would you want to do or give away or
ask for sub? Maybe yeah.
We're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. Maybe we could do a cup of coffee giveaway. That would be nice.
Oh, you could get some branded coffee. Speaking of branding, Marlon has a new series of T-shirts and merchandise. Do you want to announce that, Marlon? Are you wearing one now? Hang on, let me get rid of my branding and then people can see it.
Yeah, my branding audio. Is I loves audio.
I know.
Because if you're serious about audio, you know what Loves is. So I have a couple of designs ready in black and white letters, characters, which says I loves audio. You can actually basically assemble your own merchandise with my merchandise vendor. So that's pretty nice. If you want to buy it, I would. I have it with Spratshop.
Okay, I might need to look into those because I was going to launch, now that I've hit 10,000 subscribers, I can officially put merchandise on the channel. However, the company I was using, I've just deleted my shop from because I didn't use it for a while because I set it up optimistically before I even had 1,000 subsubscribers. And then it went 18 months without getting used. So I think they've pulled that down.
What I like about
talk. Sorry, go on.
Sure, man. No, sure, man. What I like about Spreadshop is actually the fact that they have an US-based shop and a Euro-based shop, so you can pretty easily get your merch out wherever on the world you are. So
that's good because whoever I'm sending these to, so far we know I'll be sending one of these to Nikolai Grimm, who won the plugin package. I'm going to need to send those off myself. So yeah. So just to keep you updated, our first winner who won the plugin package with 5 plugins from Sonomus, Tone Empire, and Baby Audio was Nikolai Grimm. Nikolai, I have your email address. I will be in touch, but if you want to email me in the meantime, do so. Right, Marlon, I am going to kick you out of the conversation for a little bit, but we'll talk more because I have some more questions for you. And then we are going to talk about the drum package winner and who this person is. So we will see you soon, Marlon. All right. Now, to celebrate me moving into my new studio, which I'm in now, which if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know that the old studio with all the gray foam tiles, which did look good under the purple lighting, was in my bedroom, believe it or not, where the camera was literally next to my bed, and somehow I made that room look way bigger than it was. But it was terrible having everything in my room during lockdown. So now I have a lovely studio space within which I can play drums again. Now, for those of you who don't know, drums are my first instrument. I've been playing percussion since I was 8. I've been playing kits since I was 11 and playing professionally for the last 15 years. And in the last 5 years, I've done sound engineering professionally. Well, 6 years. And I've always wanted my own drum studio, my remote drum studio. So I finally got round to setting up a drum studio, and we're just going to watch a little video that's going to show you some behind the scenes of the studio. All right, and the reason I wanted to show you that is because I decided one of my prize packages should be a recording session. Now, I did have a feeling this would be most people's least favorite recording session, but maybe that's just me putting myself down. However, someone has won this, and I can tell you that this person lives in the States, and he's in Shakopee, which is in MN. Now, my knowledge of US state acronyms isn't up to speed, so I'm not going to try and guess which one that is, other than I would guess possibly Minnesota or Maine. Maine, maybe. I have family in Boston, so maybe it's Maine. So this person is winning a free recording session with me. Details of how I'm running the recording sessions are on my website, edthorne.com. I've got an overlay for that somewhere. I don't like the background of this software. Oh, there we go. We can put that on this. Excellent. So you can get bespoke drum tracks. Now, some interesting developments with this are that I have two YouTube friends, one of whom is going to be joining us soon as my next guest, and another guy called Paul Third, who is a Scottish YouTuber as well. And I'm going to give him a shout out because he is storming YouTube at the moment. He's doing some analog versus plug-in comparisons using some online streaming site that actually feeds your audio through real analog hardware plugins, and then he compares them to the plugins. Very interesting concept. He's found himself a good niche, and he's asked me to play it on one of his tracks as well. So hopefully between these two fellow legendary YouTubers, we can create some interesting drum content behind the scenes as well. This is all to be ironed out, but you'll get the idea. So also with this is the Tone Empire Loch Ness V2 plugin, which I really like. It's my go-to drum bus plugin. It's got a compressor and a saturator control on there, and it sounds great. I've got numerous videos on that, and if you've watched any of my other live stream mixing sessions, you'll have seen that in action. Right, so let's have a drum roll, please, because the winner of the second prize package, which is the recording session with me, the Tone Empire plugin, and of course the Ed Thorne merchandise, is Jerome Brownell from the States. Jerome Brownell, if you are in the chat, give us a shout. If not, I will email you. I have your email address. There we go. Drum package winner, Jerome Brownell. Congratulations. Email me or I will email you. As I said, you get a free drum session with me, which I'm charging a reasonable amount of money for, but you will get it for free. So this could be fun. Right. Congratulations, sir. Let's move on to my next guest. And for this, I need to match his branding. Now, I've gone for, well, I didn't go for this. My graphic designer went for this yellow because it complements the purple really well, but it's not too dissimilar to a yellow channel that we know on YouTube with Mike Enjo of Creative Source. Let's bring on Mike. And here he is, Mike Enjo. How are you doing, sir? And he's just pretending to be frozen, and I know he's playing with
I wanted to stress you out even more.
Well, I was stressed enough before. And Mike is graciously wearing my merchandise. What an absolute legend. Is it still cold in Australia then?
It's bloody freezing, mate. Bloody freezing.
I mean, I don't believe that because your idea of cold is our idea of summer. So
yeah, it's like at night time it's like 6 degrees or something, I think, or 7 degrees. So
that is cold. That's cold, right? Even by our standards. I mean, I
hey,
don't have any sympathy.
I've got a question for you.
It's my show, Mike, not yours. You've had enough of your own live shows.
Do you want to see my crutch?
Your what?
My crutch.
Right. There was a letter there. I was just checking. Yes. What's your crutch? What have you done?
I'm such an old man. I took my daughter to soccer this morning, and she plays very well. And I just had to run up the hill to go to the bathroom, and I popped my calf muscle. So yeah, I've only got one leg. You don't need that for music anyway. I mean, unless you're a drummer. But,
Well, yeah. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. So you've literally done that today?
Yeah, like about 4 or 5 hours ago. Yeah.
And you still made the live stream?
I did. I'm dedicated.
Round of applause.
Why wouldn't I support my
a-
favourite YouTuber? Why wouldn't I support my favourite
I thought
YouTuber?
Sanjay C was your favourite YouTuber, Mike.
No, he's my favourite person to copy, but not my actual
right,
favourite.
Okay, well, that's interesting because you're my favourite person to copy, so this works quite well. If anyone hasn't checked out Mike's channel, Mike is the master of the buttery B-roll. So if you've seen my last few videos, I have blatantly copied and ripped off Mike's very seductive, sexy slow-mo, pans and stuff. I mean, I get my editor to do all the speed ramps and stuff. I'm posh like that now on YouTube. I have an editor. But that's just because I'm so busy gigging. Whereas Mike, Mike's on for retirement age or
Yeah, well, I mean, and retirement, and I'm quite simple. I was listening to looking at the T-shirt of Marlon earlier, and I've got a song to sing for Marlon because of that. Marlon.
Okay, I think we should save that for later. Are you going to remember it, or has this just come to your head now?
Quick one. I want to know what love is. Yeah, just came to me as a dad joke just then.
Hey, I toured with Foreigner 10,
Did you?
7 years ago. My goodness, they were good. I mean,
I
unreal.
bet.
Band.
Yeah. Really,
Unreal
really
rock show. And they obviously milked that song at the end of the set and extended it for about 10 minutes. But wow, seriously good, that song. And they're one of those bands that you hear and you think, oh, they did that song. Oh, wow. Oh, I know. Oh, and I know this song. One of those bands that you kind of think have only got 1 or 2 hits, but actually have probably 10 that you've heard of.
For people in the chat, don't you just love the way that Ed sort of slipped in? Oh yeah, I toured with Foreigner a few years back. Just slip that in.
Well, what can I say? I mean, to be fair, those probably were the biggest gigs I've done as a drummer. I've got a great photo of somewhere of me in Germany in Winterbach, and there's a big stage of 3,000 people. And I stood up as soon as the set finished. Now, bear in mind, I was playing backing tracks off my phone. That's how amateur we were. I pulled the cable out before the guy had muted it. The PA went boom, and I stood up and took a photo. And it was worth it because it was a phenomenal picture, which I think is on Facebook somewhere. Anyway, that was a good story. Right, I think, Mike, I'm going to throw you off before you say anything more embarrassing about me. And then I'll bring you back on later so we can chat some rubbish with Marlon. And I'm going to get my revenge on at least. Well, Marlon's not really teased me in his live streams yet. Mike definitely has. Now, there's one story Mike knows about that I was going to mention, but I've actually decided to err on the side of caution due to its subject matter.
Oh dear, probably something I said at some point.
You can tell by his reaction he knows what I'm talking about. Right, so
I don't know which one it could be. There's so many, but anyway.
This is also true. Right, Mike, I will see you. We will see you shortly. See you in a minute. All right, let's get some branding back on. So we are going to announce the winner of the grand prize, and then I'm going to show you how you can get your free Waves plugin, which is going to be the H-Comp compressor. And this is a very versatile plugin. So stick around. So we're going to announce the winners soon. I'll tell you how to get the plugin, and then I'll bring Mike and Marlon back in for a chat. I've got a couple of questions for them, and then we'll probably just talk rubbish because we're very good at doing that between us. But I do have to give Mike and Marlon a big thank you because they have been we have a Facebook group that we chat in, regularly throughout the week, and we give each other insights and tips on how to develop YouTube, music production bits of gear we're reviewing, and we compare notes on companies and distributors and brands, and say all the things that we would never say on a video live. But they've become really good friends of mine, and I've been really grateful for their support and their help over the last year or so that we've known each other. We've never actually met in person, which is interesting, I think, but hopefully we will one day. But obviously with the global situation, that's being a little bit difficult. Right, let's move on and find the winner for the recording package. So this person has won an audio interface from Audient. What a great prize. A dynamic microphone from Jay-Z Microphones. 3 microphones from SE Electronics. And I've been using these drum microphones. I've not got the ribbon mic that we're giving away in this prize yet, but I've been using the drum microphones, 2 of which we're giving away in this on live shows, and I have to say they are blowing my mind how good they are. I'm cracking on with a full review on those this week. And there's plugins and there's some in-ear monitors from ClearTune Monitors as well. Big shout out to Castor at ClearTune Monitors. He's an absolute gentleman of a person. And then there's plugins from Sonomus. All these prizes were in my prizes video. So if you wanted to see what how they work, I've demonstrated how all these plugins work. It's a bit late now, I guess you've entered, and we've already got a winner. But there's also plugins from Baby Audio. No, in this prize, it is just the Sonomus plugin. Right, I'm going to stop waffling and crack on with it. So the winner of this prize is, and I need the banner. The winner of this prize comes from India. And I know we've got a few people from India watching. And the exact action that this person took to win, the exact entry that they took was to visit the Sonomus plugin company on YouTube. Jerome visited the SE Electronics thing on YouTube, and Nikolai visited the Jay-Z microphones on YouTube. Interesting, all these actions came from YouTube. So the competition was completely random. I've not had any say in who's won these prizes at all. Neither have Audient, but the host, Gleam, who have hosted the competition for Audient, who have done it for myself, they've just picked people at random. So this is a completely random prize draw. And this person is from India, and drum roll, please. The winner is Wasif Yuraman. Wasif, email me or I will email you. I have your email address right in front of me. Congratulations. You have won the recording package with the audio interface, in-ear monitors, microphones, and plugins. And of course, an Ed Thorne merchandise cap. So just to recap, the winners are Nikolai has won the recording package. Jerome Brownell has won the drum package, and Wasif Yuraman has won the recording package. Forgive me if I've not pronounced any of those names well. I am Northern, therefore I can't read very well. That's going to be my excuse. I'm going to leave the winners up there a little bit. But let's move on, because it's not without loss for everyone else. Anyone who's here and anyone who watches this on the replay for 24 hours from 2 o'clock, so you have 23 and a half hours left, you can redeem your free Waves H-Comp compressor. And I forgot to get a photo of this to show you on the screen, but there's plenty of that stuff on my Instagram. Now, interesting question, and I want to run a little bit of a competition before I announce how you can get the free Waves plugin, because I was wondering whether this competition would boost my YouTube subscribers or Instagram followers, because gone are the days when you can ask for people to subscribe to your channel or follow you on Instagram. Due to European GDPR regulations and YouTube data security, whatever, security stuff, you are now no longer allowed to track people to see who they're following and subscribing to. So the way around it, as you'll have all known and seen, is that you have to visit the page. Now, it does kind of optimistically hope that people will follow you. Now, quite a lot of people did. And I want to run a little competition in the comments here on the live stream. And I want someone to guess to the closest 10 exactly how many followers this competition gained me on YouTube. Sorry, on Instagram. How many followers did this competition earn me on Instagram? And the winner to the closest 10, and let's say we'll close the competition for this at 2:30. So you've got 6 minutes to get in. The winner of this is, I'm going to send them another cap. I think that this is kind of a spontaneous decision, but just in the interest of giving more stuff out. So the first guess in is Aldous, who's guessed 1,000. And Pure Fire has guessed 2,000. Interesting. Now, Pure Fire, what I would suggest you do with that guess is maybe amend it and maybe just visit my Instagram account first, because I don't have anywhere near 2,000 followers on Instagram. So that number, I can tell you, is wrong. Ashish, again, is also wrong. Mike at Creative Source has guessed that it's 100. Okay, these are some interesting numbers. Right. One of those is close. I can tell you that. So if you are keeping an eye on the comments, one of those is close, but no cigar, because I need the answer to be within the nearest 10. Now, if nobody gets it within the nearest 10, I might extend it to the nearest 20. No, hang on, Marlon. Are you looking at YouTube or Instagram? Pure Fire is not Insta. In that case, you are forgiven. That would be a fair guess. To be honest, that would be a fair guess. 666. I feel like I've sold my soul. Right. Hello, everyone who's joining the comments. So, to the nearest 10, can you guess how many followers this competition gained me on Instagram? And the interesting thing was all the brands involved did their marketing, and they reposted stories and they posted their own posts about the competition. So thank you guys at the companies who did all that. But I noticed it was when Audience did 2 posts that the numbers went, wow. I mean, they went quite high through the roof. I mean, quite high, it's relative. Okay, there's another guess there that's quite close. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give you another clue. It is most definitely below 500. I've only got about 1,250 followers or something on Instagram. There's okay. So I'll give you a clue. It's below 500. Right. While you're guessing that, we've got 4 minutes left before that runs out at 2:30. Let's get on and tell you how we can. I need that link, which I've deleted. Let's get on and find out how we can win, how we can get your free plugin. Now, what I'm going to do is put the link in the description of this live stream. So afterwards you can, or I mean, if you want to get the link and just log off, I'm going to update it now, which I have done. So the link should be in the video description of the live stream on YouTube now. And you basically have to go to the Waves website. Link full. It's a very specific link, so you can only get to it. It's not a public page. You can only get to it with the specific link that I've now linked in the description below. And we're also going to put that up here as well. There. So you need to go to this web link. Now you can copy that, or you can just use the description below. So that is where you can get your free HComp plugin from Waves for 23.5 more hours. Thank you to everyone who's joined, but don't go yet because I'm going to be bringing my guests back on, and we also need to announce the winner of the Guess the Followers competition. Are there any better guesses in there? Snow Cloud says 1. Yeah, not a million miles away. No, there's 2 people who are close, and I'll give you a clue. They are exactly either side of the right number. So if you can find 2 numbers that are exactly above and below with my number in the middle, if that makes any sense, you might be able to figure out who that is, but nobody has got it yet. Oh, okay, there's a close one. There is a close one. Right, we're not going to highlight that though. Pure Fire says thank you. That's really awesome. You're welcome. Thank the guys at Waves for the plugin. It is those guys who offered that up as an idea for the giveaway. That's really cool of Waves, so thank you for that. Are there any other comments we need to highlight? Oh, these are just loads of guesses. That's a lot of comments. Wow. All right. Let's bring on the guests, and we will announce that winner shortly. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Let's go back to some branding. Okay. Right. So first, let's get Marlon back in, and let's get Mike back in. Welcome, gentlemen. How are we?
Hey, that's good.
Still,
it's fun to watch
still
this.
running, still here.
And to my surprise, not everyone has ditched us and buggered off to go and get the free Waves plugin, which is kind of them. That's cool.
Yeah, only about 8 people. Let's talk about them while they're gone. Some people, they're just users, aren't they? Just users.
Well, now 5 have joined again. So, I mean, it's a shame we can't find out who's left, can't we? Because then we could bully them. But YouTube is not about that. It's a friendly environment. There are some closer guests. No, those guesses are still further away. So, like I said, Mike and Marlon, 2 of my favorite YouTubers, and you're going to have to forgive my execution of these because I couldn't find a way. I've been so busy this week with gigs. I've done 6 gigs. I couldn't quite get a better solution to this little problem I had. But I wanted to talk about a very unique style of thumbnails. Now, when I mentioned earlier that I rip off most of Mike's content, it's because he does this as well in his own live streams. But I wanted to talk about this particular thumbnail. This is going to go on screen now. So why not mention Baby Audio, because Baby Audio sponsored this competition as well, and gave away a copy of their Smooth Operator plugin.
Hey.
And if I hide that, Marlon is actually doing the exact same pose. Oh, look at that. There we go.
Yeah, there he is.
There you have
Very
it.
good at it.
So Marlon, what's your thought behind these? Because I've done some of these poses where I've gone like, and I've superimposed plugins. At least I thought you had to superimpose them, but I believe you actually hold plugins, don't you? You hold real
I real
plugins for these photos, don't you?
I hold real virtual plugins for sure because I have the talent. I can do that. That's
that what
why
it
my
is?
thumbnails
It's
stand out
talent.
like that. I just have
All
the
right.
best.
Now
Yeah.
I have to mention this one because these looked heavy.
Oh, yes.
I mean, this is a good one. Like, I mean, how much did they weigh?
They weigh about 50 pounds of broken ego.
Bitter. Now, there were two other thumbnails that caught my eye. One of them was this one because it's Marlon just creeping in the background there. So just
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's a little bit Dutch, if I'm honest.
Oh god.
Well, I mean, forgive me, the image is blurry because I didn't want to ask Marlon for the original files, and the website I used to rip these off is obviously crap. But just here on the right hand side there, he's just lurking in the background like a dangerous lurky Dutchman.
It's just
But
jealous, man. It's just jealous. You're not allowed to leave the island anyway, so I don't care.
Well, I am jealous that, you do have a very good thumbnail game. I'll give you that. And I've nicked ideas off you as well. There's one more that caught my eye because I thought only Marlon in Holland, possibly under the influence of something smokable, would come up with this plugin, with this thumbnail. What's his response to that? I mean, oh, let me get rid of that. There we go.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
That one caught my attention, which was interesting. Now, one of my favorite things about Marlon's channel. So Marlon does some fantastic plugin reviews, and this is the serious part. This is a plug for Marlon's channel. If you haven't already, guys, go and subscribe to Marlon's channel and Mike's channel as well. I will put links for those in the description of the video. Forgive me, guys. I haven't done that yet. I forgot. But go and follow these guys. Give them a follow. And now Marlon does some really good plugin reviews, really detailed, the most thorough and detailed plugin reviews you'll see. And he's got, he uses different tracks every single song. He's used Darude by Sandstorm. He's used one of my songs. I'm glad you guys got that reference. Yeah. When are you going to release that song, Marlon?
I wasn't planning to because it's a blatantly rip-off of a great song. But I could release that at Thorne song because nobody cares about that one. So
brutal. So,
Yes, isn't it?
but my favorite thing about Mike's channel is how Italian Mike is. Sorry, the favorite thing about Marlon's channel is how Italian Marlon is. Just see if you can guess what I mean in this little video here.
Hi, I'm Marlon and welcome to the White Noise Studio. So, Squasher combines upward and downward compression that can result in a very squashed and even sound.
I mean, I can you do this again for us live, Marlon?
I can talk a lot like this, but actually some people think it is very distracting when you wave your hands like that. Basically, I'm just a Girl Scout or something like that. Waving hands, jazz hands, stuff like that.
See, Mike's doing a good impression there. I like it. I think it's an endearing element of your videos, mate. Yeah. It's very, very engaging. But your videos are very engaging. So, this wouldn't be fair if I just picked on Marlon. Let's move on to Mike, because Mike has been, he's been, his channel's grown. He's done all right. I mean, I think mine and Marlon's channel have, grown far more, rapidly than Mike's has in the last year. Not Mike is, but he's struggling to get over the line to 100,000 subscribers, and his competition.
Nobody's struggling, mate. Nobody's struggling. I've just eased off the gas a bit. I'm taking it casual.
Okay.
I'm not needy. No, go on. Do your bit. Go on.
I just thought you were so disappointed living in the shadow of Pete Johns, who is probably going to beat you to 100,000. But we had a really good
He's only got a small shadow too, so
we had a really good bromantic. Well, they had a good bromantic moment in one of Mike's recent live streams. Mike is doing a series at the moment where he is showcasing your music and he's getting guests on. I've been on a show. Marlon was on this week's show. And the guests and Mike are chatting through the songwriting and the production. And the show I was on, I thought was really valuable in terms of we had lots of good insights, I think. At least we had good feedback, grateful feedback for the insights for how people can work on their songs and music production. So if you would like your song, if you're brave enough to submit your song, not even I was brave enough to submit one of my songs, but if you're brave enough to submit one of your songs to Mike's channel, are you going to be doing more videos, Mike?
Yeah, I'll be doing this at least up until Christmas. The on Thursday, well, I won't say evening for me, but yes, every Thursday at least up until Christmas. Yes, and can I just do a quick plug? Somebody in the chat right now, Jade Star, is going to be on next week's show. So Jade's crazy.
Amazing.
So
actually, Jade, while you're here, because you are a legend and you're really good at this, please could I trouble you to post Marlon and Mike's channels in the comments?
Yeah,
that would be beautiful, and
really
everyone can go and follow those. I'm just scanning the numbers here to see if anyone guessed the right number for the Instagram followers. Now, someone has got close, but it's not within 10. But because they're the closest by quite a long way, I think I'm going to have to give them the prize. Oh, no. Okay, then the same person has guessed again. Now, that's technically spamming if you had to have one guess. However, their first guess is also the closest. Now he's also guessed. They've also guessed again, and they are very close, but that's their fourth guess. However, because their first guess was still the closest, I think they're going to have to win. But we'll come back to that in a second, because I wanted to go back to Mike's channel. Because as we said, Mike is struggling to get to 100,000 subscribers, and clearly he's got quite annoyed at this. And he's obviously jealous of Marlon's success. And I think he has thought, okay, what is the key to Marlon's success? Why am I failing so miserably when I'm only at 87,000 subscribers? I mean, small numbers or what, right? Sarcasm, obviously intended. So Mike has thought, I know what, why don't I try and copy Marlon with his thumbnails? Now, I think Mike has just superimposed that. I don't think Mike's actually holding the virtual plugins like Marlon does so well. But the face is there. If I saw that plugin, I'd think, who is this charming, friendly, engaging man? And it's, a big title that says free plugin news. Now, the news thing, is this also copying another YouTuber that you may have interviewed on your channel?
Not copying, inspired. I don't like this word copy.
Okay,
inspired.
All right, I agree. I think that's a better semantic.
Just notice the little shadows there by my fingers, just on the left-hand side there, just the little shadows. It takes me like 10 minutes to do the little shadows. I don't know if Marlon does that or not, but it takes me 10 minutes.
No, that is a good observation. I had noticed that. Are you holding a piece of paper like what's his face, Nick Nimmin does, and then
I think I'm actually holding a children's book, actually, of some kind. I think it's one of my kids.
Is that because you're Australian and you're still learning to read?
Yes, of course.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get rid of that thumbnail. Yes. So now I think Mike, I don't know how well that video did, I didn't check, but Mike clearly wasn't happy with just having copied Marlon's photos. So I think Mike took a little leaf out of Marlon's book and thought, right, I need to make these thumbnails a little bit creepier. Is that possible?
Oh.
Yes, it is.
There's nothing creepy about that, is there?
All right.
You see, you got to do this face sideways. You see, Marlon's got it.
Believe it or not, these are strange things we actually practice.
Just as a quick survey, if you're taking photographs for a thumbnail, Ed,
yes,
how many photographs do you think you actually take before you choose the one?
So I have just got into using my camera. There's an app for it. It's really basic because it's an old Nikon D750, but I can just about see what I'm doing on my phone, and then I press record, press capture. So it's not as many as I used to when I was doing it in my room, and I was having to reach forward, focus the camera, and then go around the back, check that's okay. Just pull a funny pose, make sure. Anyway, now I can position my camera so I know what I look like, and then I just have to press the thing and then put my hands back in place. So I maybe do like 5 now, whereas it used to be maybe 25.
Okay.
25.
And Marlon, how do you do? How many do you do?
No, I'm usually between 5 to 10 or something like that.
Okay. No, I'm just saying 87K. I do 25.
25. God.
But I'm older than you guys. There's a lot of things to correct.
So you have 25 photos, you still end up with that, with these thumbnails.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I fell for that.
You're allowed to use my photos, but yeah.
Look, I like one of the comments you got at the moment. This is DJ Emo. Why is a 10K channel roasting a 90K channel?
That's a very good question. I'm only roasting him because he's a friend of mine, and I'm envious of his success. It's all in good fun. I'm genuinely not belittling Mike's awesome channel or Marlon's awesome channel.
That is not true. That is not true, Ed, because the real answer is size doesn't matter, and you know everything about that, right?
Only a Dutchman would say that.
Hey, Marlon, you're the master at this. I've got to give it to you.
Right, I think we should announce the winner of the Instagram competition. Now, I'm still debating whether this person should be disqualified for spamming so many ideas. A lot of other people, but to be fair, I didn't put that as a disclaimer, just one entry, so we can forgive this person. But the person who got the closest with their first guess of 125 was Unique Lyrics with a Z. So Unique Lyrics, I'm going to send you a cap because the actual number that this competition earned me in followers on Instagram was about 152 or 156. So one of your other guesses was very close. But your first guess was closer than anyone else. So Unique Lyrics, well done, mate. I'm sending you a cap. But I need you to email me because I don't have your email address, but I need you to email me, which I will. You can do that on the website. Where's my little website banner? Oh, I didn't bother doing one. There we go. We'll just put that one on. So we'll just put that one on. So go to the website and you can find my email address, or it is on YouTube as well. So I want to say a big congratulations to everyone again. The winners are: the plugin package was Nikolai Grimm, the drum package was Jerome Brownell, and the recording package was Wasif Your Rahman. Now, if these prizes don't get claimed within, I think, 2 weeks, is in the terms of and conditions, I'm not quite sure what happens. I think they will be distributed to someone else. I need to speak to audience to see how Gleam works, because it does have to be a completely random selection. We can't have any influence on that due to YouTube terms and conditions with competitions. So there will be another person designated if these people don't contact me or don't reply it within 2 weeks. So hopefully they will. Hopefully you've submitted the right emails and you'll be on that and you'll hear from me very soon. Congratulations to the winners. And congratulations to, what was his name again? Mike, I don't know how you do this so well. There's so many things to do in the background.
I know, it's hard work, isn't it? It's hard work.
I guess this is where you get other people to talk. And Unique Lewis, that's the person who's won the cap.
Well, while you are messing around with things, I haven't had a chance since we came on the show, but can I just blooming well congratulate you? I mean, really good work, man. Good work. And I just want to say to the people in the chat and your subscribers, Ed works really, really hard. He's a very hard-working, both musician but YouTuber as well, and he is continually trying to improve what he's doing on the channel. So you've subscribed to a guy who deserves his success. So well done, Ed. Very proud of you.
Oh, like my proud second dad. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Right. Someone voiced a concern about getting the winners. I've got all their email addresses, so I'm not going to get fake winners coming through because I can verify as long as they use the same email addresses. It must happen. Do you know what? I don't know if I told you guys actually. I had my first fake Instagram account made for me, which I thought was a sign of true success. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Somebody created an Instagram account, and bless the people who messaged me on Instagram and told me very quickly. Some person had gone on and followed 450 odd people, and he'd managed to accumulate about 95 followers, where it was, I should have loaded a picture up for this. It was Ed Ed Thorian. So instead of Ed Thorne with the N-E at the end, it went Ed Thor E-U-N. So it was a very, very close account name. Copied all my
Ted
pictures.
Horn?
Feed Thorne. Copied all my pictures.
Wow.
Just quickly, V Music 76. The H comp link is now in the description of this video. I can probably get it on my. I'll probably post it as well. Give me a sec. I've just got to find something. Marlon, say something.
Say something.
Yeah.
Something. Right. I just said something.
So I'll tell you what I do want to know, Mike. I would like to know, what are you planning for your 100,000 subscriber giveaway? Because Mike did an epic 50,000 subscriber.
I wanted to see what. I wanted to see what you did first. That was my thing. So
that's a load of rubbish.
I've gathered that. I'll be hitting up all of the same people that you did and asking for 10 times as much stuff.
I've heard from a very reliable source that Mike will be giving away one of his 2 boats.
I don't have any boats. There's no boats. No. I haven't actually planned anything yet, Ed. I don't presume that I'm going to get there.
Mike,
well,
you
will. Come on.
No, Mike, you will get that 100,000 subscribers before Christmas.
Yeah,
but I'm not saying which year.
No, I was hoping to beat Pete Johns there. I was hoping at least that we'd come at the same time. But I think he's going to beat me. That was. But
I can see Marlon's holding in a joke there.
He's
really struggling there, isn't he?
Yes.
I cannot say it. Don't do it.
He's thought of me and Pete coming together, and he's holding it in his mouth, and that's.
I don't think. I think when it happens at the same time, I think Australia will explode. So I'm not sure if that's healthy.
Moving on. Does anyone in the chat have any questions for any of my fellow YouTubers or myself regarding the channel? I'll tell you what, I'm interested, Marlon, in knowing what content you have coming up. Because you seem to put out plugin reviews at an alarming rate. I can't even get one video done every 2 weeks at the moment.
No, I have dedicated myself to 2 videos a week. But it's difficult at times to keep that tempo up. I have plugin reviews up. Some are on still on the NDAs. I can't say those. But there will be a new.
Mike's actually frozen, or if he's just been an arse again.
I don't. I think
he's actually gone.
Oh, he's in a constant laugh.
He's gone. Mike has left the room. He clearly got bored.
No.
He didn't want anything more to do with this. So plugins under NDA agreements. Is there anything you can talk to us about?
There will be a video this week of Ayak again. A second video. I did one last Friday, but there will be another one this week. I will be doing some Acoustica stuff, and the rest is still on the wraps.
Okay.
So I can't share those.
Cool. Right, fair enough.
So what are your next videos?
Well, I have a video coming up on the IsoVox booth, which is interesting. I'm just posting some links here to you guys. I've got the IsoVox booth coming up, which is an interesting device. I've spent a lot of time with the microphone and with the booth, which is interesting, and I've compared it to another microphone. It's all going to be in the video, and I actually got it back from my editor yesterday and watched it, and it actually wasn't as boring as I thought it would be. It was quite a long video. It's going to be about 20 minutes, but it's quite interesting, I think. I
will be looking at that video so I can rip it off on myself, hopefully.
We do like to rip each other's videos off. So that's coming up. I've got the SE drum mic pack, the V Arena pack coming up, and I've used these on probably a dozen gigs now, and they are so good. I've used them on loads of different drum kits, and the tom mics especially. Whew, sound great. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to do a load of stuff in the studio here with some. I'm still planning that. I'm basically going to improvise that video. I tend not to plan videos as much these days because that just seemed to take ages before.
What speaking about drum mics, what are your absolute favorite drum mics of all time? I'm really curious about that one.
Audix D6 on kick drum. Snare drum, I'm undecided. I've got a Shaw Beta 56A at the moment, which is fine, and an i5 underneath. Pure Fire, you're welcome. Please go and check out the Creative Source channel. That's Mike's. I've just labeled it as Mike's. And Marlon's channels above there. Subscribe to those guys for killer weekly content. Overhead-wise, I'm currently using the JZ BB29s, which were on sale at 50% off. Now, they are expensive mics, but on sale, they're about 650 euros or something. But the detail in them and the clarity is amazing. And they have a nice boost at about 10K, which I really like for that glassy cymbal sound. What else have I got? Hi-hat mic. I recently reviewed the Audix A133A. No, it's just A133, which is an incredible microphone. The more I used it, the more I loved it. However, I couldn't get that for free in exchange for a video. But I may be able to get hold of one of those. What else is there? I use a room mic. I use the JZ V67 as a room mic that I run through my Warm Audio preamp with a bit of EQ, and I run that through 2 compressors. I'm really thinking at the moment I want to get a 500 series rack and get some more preamps. I've got the WA412 preamp that I want to put my toms through. At the moment, I've got kick in, snare top, and overheads running through it, but I want to try patching everything up so I can put my WA76 compressor on the kick, my WA2A compressor on the snare, and just track with a little bit of compression going in, rather than using what I'm using at the moment, which is all the Universal Audio inserts in console, which do sound great, but I kind of want to, I think I overcomplicated that. I want to strip back a little bit. So I'm thinking of getting some Neve or BAE preamps, and then maybe an SSL or Great River EQ.
Not something API related for a bit more mid-rangey punch. No,
not really, because the 412, from what I've heard, is remarkably similar to the API 3412. Certainly above, like a lot of these, let's say, clone, let's say, more budget friendly alternatives to the expensive major brands. Anything above 100 hertz, and usually it's actually quite good and very similar. Below 100 hertz, in my experience, they tend to do funny things, but I don't know if this is similar to live sound, but with live sound, to replicate 100 hertz, below 100 hertz is so difficult and so expensive. You've got to have such high quality parts. Anyway, Mike is back. Mike's waving at us like a lunatic.
I've been sitting here for bloody ages.
Wow,
I was using my phone. I was checking some stats.
Can't see you, Mike.
Everything's nice and smooth now, because for me, the whole show, you guys were like frozen, but looks good now. Anyway,
Snow Cloud says how to mix drums. I don't know if you have that. I'm just new, but I look in your channel, Ed Thorne. Good question, Snow Cloud. So only until recently have I had the drum studio within which I can demonstrate drums. I do have a live stream on how to mix drums. That is worth a watch, because I go in depth on how I've mixed the drums on my new track, which I'm forever trying to, well, I'm not really trying very hard to finish it, but it's nearly there. So there's a live stream on that where I go into a lot of detail on that. There's a few other bits as well. There's a studio tour video where I go into how I'm processing the audio coming in using the Universal Audio Unison inserts and plugins and stuff like that. I think that's quite an interesting video. I actually created that video for someone else. There's a funny story behind that. But best not.
Please do tell.
Best not.
Oh, that's not fair. Okay.
Yeah, it's best not to tell. But anyway, I repurposed it and made it better for my own channel. I think the other person's video is still doing way better than mine, which is ironic.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, you do know which one I'm talking about. And,
but it raises the questions. What are Mike's favorite drum mics?
Yeah, well, I've only really recently played with the ones in what's that, Addictive Drums.
Those are good drum mics.
Yeah, those are really
they are. I mean, you find you get very little phase issues with them actually as well. Very little effort, no phase issues. So
every little helps. Every little helps. Marlon, what about yourself? Because Marlon, I think you're the only one with a fully fledged studio, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a studio. That's right. My favorite drum mics, actually, that's a really bailing out answer. It always depends, right? I don't have a. It depends a bit on which style of music I record, because if I do some weird free jazz, I will probably use large condensers a bit farther away from the drum kit. But if I do some loud rock stuff, I will be use close mics. I do tend to I like to use microphones for which they are not intended. So I have this. Actually, a few years ago, I won this Rode NT1, a new version. It works on vocals, but it's actually the best floor tom microphone I have ever used. I really like that one. It has this higher boost, which helps with the attack, and it really helps with the low end of floor toms. You do need a preamp or a mixer which has a lot of padding, because that microphone is really hard and can easily clip your inputs. But for me, that is actually a great find. You should try it out. If you can find a latest NT1, try it on floor tom. You'll be amazed how it sounds.
Oh, that's interesting, because the guy I'm sharing my studio with has NT1s, and he's used them as overheads.
I cannot comment on all the types. I can only comment on the latest one, because I never used the older ones. But I think the sound is slightly different, but
yeah, probably
no confirmation for me.
So I think your cop out in terms of depends on the style. I totally get that, and it does. But for me, because when I was setting up my remote drum studio, I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to sell myself as a rock, pop, indie, punk drummer, because that's what I do well. That's what I gig live. Yes, I've studied jazz endlessly. I can play it. I can sight read big band stuff. I can technically play Latin music, but because I don't play them often, it's like a language. I'm not fluent. I'm not going to sell myself as a hip hop drummer or as a trap beat drummer. I have guys who, if someone came to me and said, I've got this hip hop track, I'd be like, go to that guy, because I'm just not going to do it justice. I'm going to waste both of our time. So in terms of sound selection in relation to those styles, yeah, I have got my microphones that work. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot more experimenting, I think, as the studio goes on. But it's just now I'm faced with a situation with live shows that have come back with a vengeance in the UK. I'm so busy, I don't really even have time for YouTube, let alone practice or let alone recording stuff. So we'll see how.
Can I just ask you a question about what you were saying about hip hop drums there? So can you explain to me, because I've not made any hip hop music at all. My teenage children listen to it all the time. So what's the difference there? Because I mean, I always felt that hip hop originated in using drum loops, which are often old drum parts from even 50s and 60s recordings and things. So tell me about hip hop drums and hip hop drumming, and what makes it so tricky and different.
It's not necessarily that it's tricky. It's just the vibe. It's the I'm kind of quite a hard hitting kind of rock slogger. I mean, yes, I can tighten things up and pull my elbows in and play a bit tighter, and you can tune the drums to sound a bit tighter and more authentic. Again, this is all, like you said, subjective to the whole scope of hip hop, whether it is actually sampled hip hop like it was in the 80s, or whether it's programmed stuff, as a lot of it is now, or whether it's Nate Johnson or some of these guys who are playing really tight kind of quasi time feel, which is just a thing that shouldn't exist, in my opinion. I think it's hideous. I think it's awful. But I mean, maybe when jazz musicians were moving from jazz to more straight rock and roll, they were like, "Oh, why are they straightening out the skip notes? Ding, 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 ding. Ugh, that must have been horrible to them." So maybe I'm stuck in my old ways where I'm thinking, yeah, it's either got to be or straight, or triplets or 16th notes, and then all these like ding ding ga ding 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 ga. It's like, it's disjointed. I can't dance to it. Get in the bin. Go somewhere else.
By the way, I like your vocal drumming there. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of thought I could beat bop, beat the low. You know what I mean? Beatbox.
Beats bop. That's a new style.
Beats bop. That's a new style, isn't
Beats
it?
bop.
Paul is in the house. Paul third. We
Yay,
mentioned him
Paul.
earlier.
Hey, Paul.
Paul. No, I better not say that because I don't know if that's public knowledge yet. Yes, like a drum machine. Marlon, can you do your best beatbox impression?
No, I cannot.
That's boring. Mike, can you?
That's best I can do.
I don't know what kind of rubbish samples you've got.
I know.
Of all the free samples you get on your
when
channel,
I'm trying to explain
that's
things
the
to other
best you can
people,
do.
I know. When I'm explaining things to people in the studio, they look at me like, "Is that a drum beat?"
Yeah, see, that's why I didn't do it.
I'm more of a
because I don't want to
guitarist,
embarrass myself, mate.
So something I'd like to know from everyone in the comments, because there's a fluctuating number of people, but there are a good solid 20 odd in at the moment. Who here writes their own music, or who here just records? Or let me know if you do both. So write, just let us know if you write, produce, or record, or what you do with your music, because that'll give me a good insight into why you follow the channel, which obviously my channel is predominantly product comparisons and reviews, but there's some useful tutorial stuff in there as well. But I'm interested to know what you guys do. Mike, Marlon, you asked earlier about more content. I actually have another Antelope video to do. I did a review on the Zen Go, which I need to update because there is actually a section in that video about the new AFX 2-door plugin, which is really useful. And I've got a video that's basically recorded. I just need to put it together, which is a behind-the-scenes recording of a whole track. I also need to record the vocals, but two reasons I don't want to do that. One, wrote the song about my ex-girlfriend, which I don't want to deal with that. And two, I'm just not in I don't feel like I'm in a singing zone at the moment. So I'm struggling to finish that. So I might just do the video without vocals, which I've also kind of gone off anyway. When you get into a song and you think, oh, this sucks, and I'm still going to mix the damn thing.
It's actually kind of nice. I was planning to do when I started this channel to do a lot of backstage recordings of how to do recording sessions and stuff like that. But then COVID happened, and all recording sessions were basically scrapped because the musicians had no money and no one was allowed to travel anymore. So out.
And
with
by the way,
that
those types of videos are some of the most difficult videos to make. Extremely time consuming to do those kind of how I recorded a song type stuff. Not that I'm complaining, but sometimes you can do that and get very few in terms of actual people wanting to see it. I don't know whether it's all been done before. Whether there's videos about that already. But anyway, we're talking shop.
And maybe you have to do well-known songs of big artists, which will spark some interest. But
some YouTubers do that, don't they? Yeah, some of them.
Not
do
much.
That.
Not much.
They get copyright strikes when they do it.
Yeah,
they complain. But
it reminds me of Eric Valentine's channel. Do you know he has a YouTube channel?
Oh, okay.
And he does everything wrong in regards of YouTubing as we YouTubers see it. But he did how did I record and mix Queens of the Stone Age No One Knows video, which was absolutely awesome, but it only was online for I think a week because he had to take it down because of copyright strikes and all kind of stuff. But
that's a shame.
It was really good.
Opinions on that, but I don't want to go into that because so I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Ari would be a guess. He said, I produce electronic music and I do everything by myself. Nothing worth releasing because there's nobody to fix my mistakes. Now, I think that's been very harsh on yourself there, Ari.
Yeah.
Because mistakes are all part of the learning process and they are opportunities to learn, because if you can learn how to fix them, you won't make those in the next production that you do, or you'll know how to fix those things if you do make those mistakes in the next production. And you will, what you think is bad, someone else will think is good. I promise you, trust me, I put out songs and some people think that, one or two people have said they're quite good. Compared to some of the stuff I know from friends who produce their own music or write, and compared to what's out there in the charts, it pales into insignificance. So I would say don't be unnecessarily harsh on yourself on that and put stuff out, because the world is your oyster and we are spoiled with the amount of opportunities that we can put our music out there. to people now. Just get it on TikTok, because what you think might be a mistake might be the next dance craze on TikTok. You just don't know. Marlon and Mike, what are your thoughts on that?
I would release it.
Sorry,
no,
yes.
Doesn't matter.
Marlon first.
Yeah.
Okay. I know. I would just release it and focus on the next song. Don't be too harsh on yourself in regards of little mistakes. It has no use whatsoever. You're only gonna. I lost my train of thoughts over here.
It's too much smoking.
You're only gonna.
Let's jump over to Mike. Maybe Mike had some thoughts.
Well,
he's
I
probably
think
forgotten
it's
by now already as well.
yeah. I think it's highly important to release things. Yes. What's going to happen if you don't release things is you're going to end up with about 40,000 songs on your hard drive, which are half finished, and you're endlessly mixing and correcting. So you got to get it out there, forget about it, learn from it, and if you follow the link right at the bottom of Ed's description, a really good way to release it is with DistroKid, and you're going to get 7% off, right? See, that was a
you're
segue
so
there.
cheesy, mate.
Excellent
Right
plug.
at the bottom.
Thanks, Mike.
Right at the bottom, follow that link at the bottom there, and Ed will make a small sum of money from it as well if you want to help him out. But you will get a great deal. But it's very important, and the great thing is these days, and I like to think of opportunities, right? Because you've got that opportunity to record it at home. You would have had to have gone to a studio years ago. It'd be very difficult. But more importantly, you've got the ability to release it really easily. Like, it's super easy. Think 20 years ago, you kind of either had to fund your own release, which would be horrendously expensive, or you had to get a record deal. Now you can get it to all of the same platforms that major artists are releasing to. Look, it takes, once you've got your album art and the actual audio mastered, it literally takes 5 minutes to do a release. So I'd say just definitely go for it, and then kind of forget about it. It's like your children. Once they've left home, forget about them.
I suspect that's not true, Mike. Marlon, are you also shamelessly endorsed by DistroKid?
No, I'm not shamelessly endorsed by DistroKid. Shame on them. DistroKid, if you're watching this video, do a shameless promotion of me, please.
Yes.
I'm sure we can put you in touch. So I mentioned earlier that Mike, Marlon, and there's a few others we have a couple of chat groups for different things, but we share contacts, industry contacts. So Marlon, I'm sure we can send you in the direction of
I'm already on that one.
Mike, what a gentleman Mike is. Snowcloud says the H delay is also nice. Just sharing. I think it's a great plug in, the H delay, actually. We had a discussion about delays before we started this live stream, and that was the one I was thinking I wanted to use, but I couldn't use that with my interface infrastructure.
I just have a different question. As a Dutchman, I use H delay and H comp. I was thinking it was H comp and H delay, not H.
It's because Ed can't speak English, that's all.
So what do you say, Mike?
I'd say H. Yeah.
H of H delay.
Not H delay. No.
H.
H
delay.
I mean, I'll just put this out there that both of you are speaking our language. Just saying.
Ik kan wel Nederlands gaan praten, maar daar snap je ook helemaal niks van.
Oh. Excellent. And on that note,
I'm
just kidding. All right, I'm going to put a question to the people watching. What content do you ideally want to see from any of our three respective channels? And start the comment with Ed, Mike, or Marlon.
Answers good content. Give us good content, please.
Follow that up with some expletives and swear words if you'd like. No, don't do that. Please don't do that. But yeah, select a channel, name who you want to produce whatever content, and then maybe we can think about it. I sometimes do polls on my community channel, community tab bit, for what people want to see, which is quite interesting, which is actually how I decided on the H comp from Waves, because Waves sent me a long list of plugins I could choose to give away, and I put that on my community tab. I put a poll on, and the compressor limiter plugin won by miles, so that was useful. So what do you guys want to see? Michael Jarzi says, say NHS. I see your point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. NH. Yeah, fair point.
Yeah.
NHS. Yeah, yeah, you've got me there.
Yeah. Yep.
Snowcloud wants to know about recording instruments. Mike, you've got some good videos on recording acoustics and electrics. Your mid-side video was very good.
Well, I'm glad you've highlighted that because they've got very few views. Yeah. Like I say, I mean, I think it's one of the most fascinating things recording instruments. Of course, I don't record drums like you guys do. I don't have the space or probably even the knowledge, to be fair, although I have recorded them before. But yeah, I think what's really fascinating about recording instruments is there's so many different ways that you can do it. If you're starting out, you're probably thinking that there's, one or two different ways to, say, record an acoustic guitar or even an electric guitar cab or a bass or what have you. But it's about learning some of those basic rules and then playing around with them and trying different positions and different microphones and what have you. So it's a fascinating subject, isn't it? I'm by no means advanced. I think of myself as maybe an intermediate as best with this. But yeah, it's one of the most fun things you can do, especially, I think one of the most fascinating things and one of the things that probably beginners ignore is the cliche is get it right at the source. But, moving those microphones around and trying different microphones before you've used any kind of EQ or compression is going to be the most rewarding thing that you can do when you're approaching recording instruments. And then you'll find that you actually have to do very little with plugins. It's just refining maybe a tiny amount with plugins. So that's what I think. And of course, need I mention the room as well. And the room is not necessarily, in my opinion, as clinical as it's made out to be at times. There's lots of ideas. You should have the perfect sound. I was going to say proofing, sound treatment. But I think it's always worth, if you're recording at home, having fun with trying some different rooms, run long cables and things, and try some, hard floors and carpeted floors and, all different kinds of things like that. Definitely experiment with recording, but that's my 2 cents worth. Anyway, I see Marlon was nodding, and if Marlon's nodding, I must have been saying something correct.
It's not unlike Marlon to have an opinion, though, is it, Mike? So let's give Marlon a chance to. Did you have thoughts, Marlon?
Yeah, you have to know that each microphone, that's how I approach it. Each microphone is basically an EQ before even using EQ, right? So I'm looking if I have a microphone at hand over here. Yeah, I have this one. So each microphone has its own EQ curve, right? So some boost a bit mid-highs a bit more, some have a more open end, more open high end, or better low end. And you can use that to your advantage to check out which instrument you want to record. For instance, with drums, one of the most used microphones for tom-toms is the MD421 because it has a bit of a higher mid-range boost, but it also can capture more of the entire drum. It's absolutely terrible for cymbal bleed. Actually, it's really bad on those. But if you compare to an SM57, for instance, it also has a mid-range boost, but that one is even more pronounced and will not work on that well on bigger drums, which sound a bit small. It sounds contradictory, but if you keep that in mind, how a microphone sounds and which source you are using, you will actually get good recordings even before you need to EQ or compress or use preamps.
Very true. Completely agree. Interesting point about each microphone being an EQ. That is an interesting way of looking at it, actually.
Well, I say it's an EQ, but of course there are more things happening. For instance, like the SM57, it does have a certain way how it records attacks. And if you have a small condenser mic like the Neumann KM 184, that one records transients, attacks even better. But there's a choice you have to make. For instance, if you record loud rock, if you use that KM 184, it will record the transients a lot, but maybe you don't want that in rock music because it's too detailed. Maybe you want a large diaphragm microphone which smoothens out those transients a lot more. So there's choices you can make, and you have to consider
This-
before actually starting to record.
This raises an interesting question. So would you say the difference between a large diaphragm condenser and a small diaphragm condenser is their ability to pick up the peak transients?
That is one of the differences, but also a large diaphragm smoothen out tend to make everything literally a bit larger than life, and small diaphragms are way more analytical. They actually can record low end even better. It's more usually it's more linear.
Because I've never really liked small diaphragm condensers. I use them live because they're convenient and they're less visually obtrusive. But
for very transient music like jazz, free jazz, where you need the stick attack, they are great. So like, but for instance, for rock,
on acoustic guitars,
yeah, also same, probably for the same reason, right? For the attack and the transients,
exactly.
like that.
All right, so I have learned something today. Excellent.
Hey.
This is why we have this community, which is great. Pastafari, forgive me if that's
Pastafari.
Pastafari, that's probably better, yeah. Another tip, make up your mind and stick with it. When I record, I have the sound I want in my head. This saves time, come to mixing. Yes, there is definitely a case of, and this is where people can go wrong with plugins, myself included in the past, where you can tweak with stuff endlessly. Just commit, get on with it. And your ears will get better as you go.
And there's a certain amount of instinct involved as well with that, because a lot of this is taste. Like Marlon was mentioning, I can't remember which microphone which was good on the toms, and of course that's going to reflect a certain sound that you're going for, Marlon, in your head beforehand. Whereas another person may want a different kind of sound. And as an example of that, if you do go around, folks, YouTube. And my thing is recording acoustic guitars. If you go around YouTube, a gazillion people are going to tell you that one of the good microphones you can use, and you'll be delighted to hear this, is the SM57, because they say it's really good on acoustic guitars. And of course, they're very cheap to pick up, and you may have one sitting in your cupboard. But just as a heads up, I hate them. I hate them on acoustic guitars, even though 9 out of 10 YouTubers says they're fantastic. I have tried and tried and tried to get a sound that I like, and I detest them. And I think that's because I'm looking for a very particular sound, which that microphone cannot deliver for me on acoustic guitar. So, trust your tastes a little bit as well. Listen to your favorite music, your favorite producers. And one of the other good things, we haven't mentioned, it's a bit off topic, is sort of try copying sometimes. One of the things I've done is recorded cover songs, which I don't release, but I've really tried to mimic the original entirely. And it really gets you to think about how those sonic qualities are being achieved. And you have to try and, in your mind, reverse engineer what's going on. It's very challenging and great fun. Yeah.
And I'd like to jump in there, actually, because that's from a mixing production point of view, but also as a musician. If you don't do covers, I had a very strange experience when I went to the States, because in the UK, being a covers musician is, it's a pretty good job. I mean, it's what I've done for 15 years, and there's a certain amount of status to being fully self-employed and paying the bills just playing music. Now, yes, you're playing other people's music, but there's a lot of skills to be developed doing that. Now, when I went to the States, it's very different over there. At least this was the impression I got. Whereas I said, I do covers. I'd play in bars and clubs and weddings and things. And people like, oh, like, really? Like, I mean, who do you play for? Like, do you mean you don't play for a Billboard act? What a loser. Get out. You're no worth and no use to me. So I'm not even going to breathe on you again. It's a bit like that in LA, at least. Which was interesting because, studying other musicians, and as you said, Mike, trying to get the sounds that they're trying to get is one thing, but why does this song groove? What is the drummer or what is the bass player doing? Or, where in this thing I learned at uni, which was invaluable, was where is the groove in a song? And we went through a whole load of songs and everyone's immediately like, oh, it's in the drums. Yes, some of the time, a lot of the time, but not all the time. There's so many examples where the groove is in the rhythm guitar part, or it's in a backing vocal, or it's in
the relationship between the two. Yeah,
exactly. So in terms of if there is anyone who thinks covers, it's below me, whatever, I'm not going to bother looking into that. You
I
will
always,
learn so much about your playing, and what you will learn about your playing, learning cover stuff, is your limitations. Because if you haven't tried to play hip hop authentically, like I have, I decided I'm not very good at it, or jazz, you won't know how difficult it is to be authentic,
I
especially as a
always,
drummer, because it's so
yeah.
dynamic and requires so much finesse to get all the styles authentic.
I always thought about what is the difference between being a cover musician and a gun for hire playing for a band which plays their own original material. But basically, you as a musician in both cases are playing someone else's part and covering songs.
Yeah, you should speak to the guys in Toto about that.
Yeah.
Also, on the subject of being a cover musician, I speak to guys who play in philharmonic orchestras. They're generally cover musicians.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They're
And they're
playing. They're
highly
playing
skillful,
someone.
so
They're playing someone else's music.
always. More or
Yeah.
less, yeah. So we have a bit of a stigma about it sometimes. I mean, I love to hear people's self-expression, and I actually think of myself primarily as a songwriter above everything else before being a producer or a performer or anything. But even with writing songs, I just think you learn so much by playing other people's songs. You learn about song structure, and you can learn about arrangement and all kinds of musical writing skills by having a go at someone else's, and then you put your own spin on it, kind of thing. But
So, in both of your humble or not so humble opinions, top down, what would you say is the most? Let's go two things. Marlon first. The most important thing in the whole spectrum of writing, producing, recording, and then the most overlooked thing.
The most important thing. Oh God, that's a difficult one. Can you give me a few seconds to think about that?
Yes, Mike, are you ready with an answer?
Yep.
Go for it, Mike.
Easy.
What's the most important
Easy.
thing? And I think I know what you're
Songwriting.
going to. Yeah. I figured you'd say
Songwriting,
that.
absolutely easy. I mean, I can just think of just some really fantastic music. In fact, a good example of this is, those rubbish shows that we as musicians hate, like sort of X Factor, or it used to be, American Idol, or all of those things. In fairness to some of those singers, for example, they are very talented in terms of what they're able to do in their craft. But most of them never go anywhere because they get really poor songwriting teams after they've won the competition and come out with rubbish songs. And that, in my opinion, is why they don't get anywhere. Nothing to do with their actual performing talent. And I just think without a good song, you've got absolutely nothing. Yeah.
So what would you think is the most overlooked aspect of recording, mixing, producing? If you were to pick something else, because obviously songwriting
in terms of the recording, the process. Oh goodness, what's the most overlooked thing? Goodness, it's just such a complete process. It's very hard to pick one thing in terms of taking. Once I've done that songwriting bit, I mean, one thing I love, and I know you guys are. I think you guys are more. Better educated in terms of mixing and things. I try and make the mix happen with the arrangement first, right? So I think of it in terms of live performance when I'm playing with a band. As a band, you're going, right, well, the rhythm guitar is going to come in here, but it's going to stop here, or whatever that is. So the dynamics of the song are created with the arrangement first, rather than all being about using all of the things we talk about all the time to control levels, whether it's compression, dynamics, techniques, or EQs and all that. I mean, all of that is needed. But I think in terms of the arrangement after the songwriting, I'm not going to get into the mixing process.
Yeah, we mentioned that in your live stream, didn't we? There was someone who submitted a song and they said they'd recorded hundreds of parts, and in the mix process, they then selected which ones would help orchestrate the dynamics of the song. I found that interesting.
I can actually have my answers ready right now. First, I will start indeed with the overlooked part, and which is actually the same which you just mentioned, Mike. It's arrangement. And Ed, while live mixing, you will notice that as well. if you as a band have your own parts really well arranged, so the bass part is more low and the guitar plays in this frequency range and the keyboards play in that frequency range, you will notice that in mixing, so the technical side, that the mix almost happens by itself. You don't have to do that much because everything is already in its own place. If you have to mix a lot, if you really have to dive in the mix to make it sound good, usually there is an arrangement problem and conflicting notes and areas and stuff like that. That's something which is often overlooked. The most important part for writing a song, and maybe it's also the same what Mike said, but for me it's vibe. It's not really writing a good song, but getting the right vibe. So it doesn't have to be playable on acoustic guitar. I think that's one of the cliches. If you can play a song on acoustic guitar as a good song, I do not agree with that
Like
because
the whole MTV Unplugged idea.
yeah, but because I don't agree with that because I still do listen to a lot of electronic music and drum and bass. If you play that on acoustic guitar, it will be terrible. Does not sound good, but they are great songs or great tracks, and
Yeah, but drum and bass is
vibe.
terrible. So.
No, drum and bass is excellent, mate. You live in London. You live in London, mate. No, but I actually always go for vibe first, and the rest is not as important. For instance, I really love the old Bad Brain stuff, which is really terrible sounding hardcore punk music from early 80s, but the vibe is so good. I really love that. Doesn't always have to be squeaky clean.
I'm really glad that
transparent.
I'm really glad that Marlon kind of touched upon something here, which I want to expand upon. If I'm going to have a whinge about YouTubers a little bit, about us, because you touched on, drum and bass and the whole idea. When people talk about if it works on an acoustic guitar, then it's a great song. They're normally talking about songs, like 3.5 minute little messages with lyrics and da-da-da. And God, I feel really sorry for the people in our communities who write soundtrack music or who write bloody jingles for commercials. It's all valid. All kinds of music creation, it's got different needs,
Yeah.
We sometimes really get hooked up on the idea of songs in the traditional mainstream radio sense, and we forget there's all kinds of music being created for all kinds of different purposes, drum and bass being one of them, which is just a different idea about a song.
Okay, but Mike, here's a question for you, as I formulate it in my brain. How like instrumental music and obviously film score music is designed to create an emotion. Now, how many film score bits of music besides the Lord of the Rings theme tune can you remember or name that don't have lyrics? Was
Game
that
of
good
Thrones.
though? I mean, that was just disappointing, like the ending, wasn't it? But
No, but the theme music I thought was one of the greatest pieces of theme music written.
Yeah, it's memorable. I'll give you that.
I'm just saying.
Star Wars.
Yeah. Okay. So there's so there are a few, and maybe in the comments, guys, you can give your favorite
Space Odyssey
instrumental
2001.
piece of music, and maybe people have some other suggestions other than Star Wars and Game of Thrones and the Lord of the Rings. But in terms of like, okay, we've named 3. I'm sure we could probably get to 10 if we put our heads together. But compared to songs with lyrics,
yeah, I think it serves.
Surely the emotive connection of lyrics, stories you can relate to, like country music is so big in the States because of the stories, I think. Surely having lyrics you can relate to, I mean, as a writer, lyrics are so important. It's therapy for me. Surely
I really disagree. I really disagree, even though I'm primarily a lyrics guy and I love great lyrics. But let's say, I think, for example, I'm going to get mocked now, but I think, for example, ABBA was some of the greatest, the writers were some of the best writers ever, ABBA, because they fulfilled, let's say, a Dancing Queen. It hasn't got very good lyrics in it. It's awful lyrics. But back to what Marlon was saying, it had exactly the right vibe for the time, for the place, for discos and places where people were going to dance to that thing. So it fulfilled its task beautifully, because sometimes what people want to do to music is dance, for example, and they don't give a stuff about the lyrics, not one little. I'm surprised as a drummer, you know, that you don't understand this basic concept.
No. I do understand it. I do understand it. I mean, listen to any of Noel Gallagher's lyrics. Any of Oasis lyrics. They're utter garbage nonsense. They don't make any sense. But they somehow, and this is kind of what I was getting at, they somehow capture. And this is where I was leading, because Mr. Brightside is the most streamed song of all time, I believe.
Good lyrics.
And yes, although my beef with that song is that it repeats the first and second verse, which is a bit of a cop-out, in my opinion.
True. Yeah. Okay.
There's one band that really offend me in that regard, but I'm not sure I'll slag them off. But the point with Mr. Brightside is, and a lot of the Oasis stuff is, I mean, I think the Killers lyrics are great. I think Brandon Flowers is a very good visual, metaphorical lyricist. But with Oasis, I mean, I'm sure Noel's got his own meanings, and if you read into them, I guess you can maybe find some meaning, and they obviously mean something to him, which is the important thing. But in terms of like relatability, I think most of them are nonsense. But any drunk person in a pub on a Friday night can sing them and sing their heart out, and just even though the lyrics might not mean something, the song, that's what they latch onto. From a live sound engineer's point of view, the two most important things I've learned very quickly was vocals, because that's how people recognize the song. Kick drum, because that's what they dance to. Get those faders up first, everything else can fit in between. So what is it about a song like Mr. Brightside that is so massive, that is so relatable, and again, just emotive is the best word for it?
Well, actually,
Marlon,
why is it the most streamed song of all time?
I don't know, because I barely listen to lyrics, to be honest. Maybe it's because I'm Dutch, but I don't have that much of connection to lyrics. I usually really listen to the vibe of the entire song, listen to a vocal, which I like, but lyrics, I barely listen to them.
Can I be cynical here? Mr. Brightside took quite a long time before it got popular. If you look at the history of it, it was recorded a very long time before it initially got popular, and it's grown in certain ways. So
and it had to come, like a lot of bands, they had to come to England first to break.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, maybe the best thing about Mr. Brightside was marketing somewhere along the line. There's a cynical comment for you, but I think it's a great song. But maybe it was marketing. Maybe they just maybe there's some fantastic songs written which never see the light of day, and we don't know about them, and that's why we're not talking about them.
But bringing this back to production, Mr. Brightside apparently was a demo for the label. I mean, it's not played to a click track; it speeds up. I think it sounds good. So whoever's tracked it has done a pretty good job. It's obviously been mastered very well as well. But instead of re-recording it, they made a very wise decision, I think, because if they'd have clicked that and reproduced it and made it as clean and polished as their new albums, for example, which sound amazing and they have their own vibe, but it's not that vibe. That vibe is irreplaceable. That was that day in that studio. They captured that song that is the biggest song of all time, give or take. Well, the last 20 years, at least. Disclaimer. Before I get hounded in the comments for that. Just quickly, sorry. Leighton Paul has asked if the winners have been announced. Yes, they have. And they are as follows. They're coming on screen now. But Leighton, if you want to get your free Waves plugin, there's a link for that in the description below. You can get the free H-Comp plugin at that link on screen, but it is in the description below as well.
I think Leighton's left already. Leighton's left already. Leighton wanted to know if the winners have been announced.
Maybe.
See you, Leighton.
I reckon he's still here. I'm holding out. Leighton, are you still here? Let us know. Come on.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was saying. But I mean, I just think that what was I going to say? It's one of my pet peeves about. I'm going to sound like an old guy now, but I don't give a shit. I am an old guy, and
Mike's just demonetized my entire channel.
I know. There you go. I love good lyrics. I love a good melody. I love a good chord progression. They're all different ways of expressing yourself, and I think that tempo is a form of expression. And I think it's such a crying shame that it's disappeared out of so much music these days. I am one of the old folks who, wherever I can, I don't use a click track, wherever possible. And there's sometimes, for me, It's more expedient because you can copy and paste things and do nice things like that when you're playing with the click track. But I love the fact that things will, even if something speeds up by 1 BPM, half BPM over a period of time, like a chorus, I think it makes all the difference in the world. There you go. That's my little whinge.
Yeah,
Cool.
man. I tried to type and say something at the same time, which is really difficult. So I focused my energy on typing. Such a man.
So at this point, I'd like to say another thank you to everyone who entered. I think we had 6,500 different entries. Now, if everyone took all 27 opportunities to enter the competition that were available on the Gleam site hosted by Audient, thank you. I feel like we should get the Audient logo up as well there. There we go. Brilliant. Professional.
Subtle.
I worked it out that would be about 240 different people who entered. Now, I know for a fact I went on once and tested by following one thing. So there's at least 241 people there. Audient didn't quite get back to me before the end of Friday with how many people had entered, but I'm sure everyone didn't go and answer all 27 or do all 27 tasks. So I reckon it's a lot more than that, which is great. But either way, happy with those numbers. Just a reminder, the link for the free Waves plugin is in the description below. And just a request, if you can, like this video, as Mike says, give it a thumbs up. It helps YouTube recognize the video and more people will be able to watch this live winners announcement and get the free plugin. And why not go and do that right away so you don't forget? And P.S. Mike hopes you're well. And while we're talking about channels, please go and give Mike and Marlon a follow. I was halfway through updating the video, and I don't know if I did with their links. My bad. No, I didn't do that. What a terrible friend. Maybe they can post their links in the comments, and I'll put them into the description of the video. I was tired this morning when I came in. So we've talked about the plugins. The winners have all been announced, and we need someone to come and claim their free hat. I'm gonna have to scroll all the way up through the chats for that. So if there's any more questions in the comments, please do submit those to us and we can talk rubbish. If not, we will end up just talking rubbish and it'll descend into chaos.
Can I just ask about your door in the background there, Ed? Your door, not your DAW, but your door. Is that how do you get that effect of the pink frame to it and the blue door with the pink tinge in the middle? Is that lighting?
Right. I mean, these are pretty important YouTube details.
I just want to know.
I mean, this will affect most people's music production. So if I get out the way, I have a little uplight down there. Now,
okay.
It's funny. We were chatting about this. Marlon and I were talking about this yesterday on my, was it yesterday? Friday on my test stream for this, where I still didn't manage to iron out the audio delay issues. Sorry about that. And we discussed briefly how my old studio with the grey foam paneling, which was effective for deadening the room, but not really for treating the room acoustically properly. But it looked really good under the purple lights. I've moved into this studio and it's a little bit discombobulated because, as you can see right above my head now, there are some metal frames that holds all the royal blue silk, I don't know, whatever the material is, fabric that is holding the rock wool against the walls. And then there's also this wooden door frame. So it just looks a bit disjointed, but that is actually a purple light shining onto a wooden door frame. But it does, I agree, it looks slightly pink, but then it blurs in, with the purple, and we've got some nice lights on my right shining up on the drum kit there.
Well, it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. I think in music production, presentation is everything. Not everything, obviously, but it's a lot. Yeah. Can I just ask one more question, just while we're on air, and it's your channel, and we want to know more about Ed. What's the tattoo on your arm, Ed? What does it say, or what's its meaning? What's that all about? Can you tell me about that?
I only explained this on first dates, Mike, and sadly, you live in Australia, so we can't go on our first date.
I think it's Chinese for bad drummer or something.
Did you have a tattoo done when you were in an Asian country? Did you? You don't know what it means?
So you hang on, let me just put myself up on
there we
full
go.
screen.
Right.
So Mike is referring to that. But is
Hey.
that not going to come in as upside
Happiness
down?
is you know what? I love that. I love that very much.
Have we never
I think
talked about
that's
this?
No, I don't think we have, but I think it's so true.
So there's a story behind that, because when I tell people that, literally it's two reactions. People instantly get it like you do, or they're like, depression isn't a choice. You can't choose to be happy. I get that, but what's behind it is the idea that on a daily basis you make so many micro decisions about how you react to things, and more decisions than you can ever be aware of. But if you really start thinking about it, you can choose how to respond to things. So for example, someone leaves you a bad comment on YouTube, and you can angry, you can get really annoyed at that person. It can ruin your day. Or you can just be like, fine, that person is not my audience. As we've discussed, those people are never going to be my audience. I don't need to try and change that person's mind. They're clearly stressed or angry about something. You can choose whether you dwell on it or not, because if you start dwelling on it, it will upset you. You will get bitter and resentful. Same as if someone cuts you up in traffic. Or you can just be like, fine, what an idiot. That's their problem. Just as long as they don't kill someone.
And can I just clarify?
Sorry, let me just finish that. So if you have, my point being, if you do that on a regular basis, that then becomes a habit, and that can completely overhaul your mental state.
Absolutely. What I wanted to clarify just quickly for people in the chat or who are watching on the replay, when I was admiring Ed's tattoo there, and I definitely don't want to imply that people who are depressed have made a choice to be depressed. Or like that. Just 100%. But I just love the idea that I think of it as taking control of your own destiny a little, of understanding how much power you have to adjust your own attitude towards the world.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, Mike. Yeah, thank you. That was a better summary. Anyway, in the interest of not dwelling on depression and negative things like that, Bilawal Ali has asked, what do you think about parallel compression? I'm all for it. I use it all the time. Parallel compression on lead vocals, on drum buses and master buses. If EQ'd correctly, I would say EQing them is essential. Otherwise, you'll end up with way more top end than you need, way more resonant low end. Use away. And I would usually go pretty hard. I would smash them and then EQ. Like for vocals, for example, I would EQ out the low end to maybe 150 and the top end to down to probably like 5, if not 2 or 3K, just so the body of the vocal is coming through underneath, rather than boosting the highs and boosting the lows, which can imbalance things. Mike and Marlon, what would your thoughts on that be?
I would. I also use parallel compression a lot, but you have to be aware when you use it, and don't use it as a first step. First, make sure your tracks are sounding good and well, which you like, and then add parallel compression to add pressure to the music, loudness, whatever vibe, right? And what Ed says, make sure you have them sound correctly before you use it. But don't use it as I will never use it as a first step. That's one thing with all these internet forums and YouTube videos. They always explain a technique, and everybody starts using that as a first step, like MS compression, mid-side compression, or mid-side EQing. First, do your things like you normally would, like old school mixing, and then add parallel compression and go in deeper.
Mike, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for beginners, parallel compression is a wonderful thing because it's, in my opinion, it's one of the easiest approaches to compression because essentially you compress the hell out of things on the bus or wherever where you're creating that. So it's kind of like maximum. Otherwise compression, it can be kind of fiddly, and you have to understand a lot about, say, for example, the transients of the instrument, that you're trying to compress, just as an example, depending what you're using your compression for. But parallel compression is about really squashing something a lot and then blending that squash thing in with the original signal. And it's a very much blend to taste kind of thing. So it's kind of easy to do. I use it on lead vocals quite a lot when you occasionally sort of lose it here and there. However, what Marlon says is so wonderful. In fact, I'll just use vocals as an example there. I would be looking at clip gain on my vocals. Like when I say clip gain, when you're dividing the vocals up into little phrases and you're just adjusting that, I manually do that to lead vocals before I touch any kind of compression, for example. So and then I may use some traditional types of compression, 1 or 2 stages on the main vocal channel. And then later, usually I'm adding the parallel compression kind of near the end of the mixing process for things like vocals. Yeah, it's really near the end, but it's wonderfully magical. And when you do it, you go, oh, that fixed a whole bunch of stuff. But don't try, as Marlon says, don't try and fix it up front with parallel compression. No. I like manual things at the beginning, getting, phrases at the right kind of level to begin with. And of course, automation as well, incredibly important as well. So it's one of the tools that you can use.
I'd like to go back to something you said earlier as well, actually, about using instrumentation to create the arrangement. I actually use parallel bus sends quite a lot to implement automation, like volume, dynamic changes. So, for example, verse, vocals, just have them going through. I always use 2 compressors on vocals, partly because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to go through and automate all the vocals or do the gain changes that you were talking about, which is probably the more professional approach, but I'm just a bit lazy. But in terms of when the chorus comes in, or like the second part of the chorus, I might use a parallel bus send. And someone's asked if we use, DJ Emo has asked if we use buses, or was it them? Someone's asked if we use buses or duplicating the tracks. Now I would always use a bus, and then you could do this with a duplicate track. I wonder what Marlon thinks about the differences between the two there. But I would automate the bus so that it comes in for the chorus to give it a fuller, bigger sound. And if you do that on the master bus, it's particularly effective.
I do both, actually. I duplicate a track, or I use master bus, or I even use it with the usually with the dry wet control on the track itself. It really depends on which type of audio you have. If you have it, for instance, if I have drums, it will be on the drum bus, and then I will have a separate group. I use Cubase, so a separate group for that. But if I have a single audio track, I could easily duplicate it and then add in. And I think one of the comments had it correctly. You can have more control like that. You could easily more easily EQ and stuff like that. But if it's a very simple type of compression, just a bit of parallel compression on, again, the drums, I can use the dry wet control and then mix it in. It's really easy.
Can I just ask you guys what would be? Have you got any favorite go-to compressors? No, you just
yes, I go for the Universal Audio EL8 distressor.
I use
mash it.
Do you use a limiter as well?
Yeah.
No, only not on parallel buses. Only on the master output. Really, is like the last thing before Sonarworks.
I do actually use limiter on parallel because it depends a bit on what sound I want. If I use a parallel compression and I do not want any transients happening, I usually tend to have a bit slower attack and really smash the drums. So it's really compressing. And then use a limiter just to reduce the transients, because that usually gives a bit more transparent result for me. And then I mix it in. But always double check, triple check if it sounds good, because although most DAWs have latency compensation, you still have to check if it's really sample accurate, because even if you have a mismatch of 1 or 2 samples, it will sound off.
That's true. Good point.
All right. I feel like we've been going a long time, and I want to keep this below 2 hours. I certainly don't want this to get to an unnecessary 3 hours. I mean, we could talk. I mean, and we do. For anyone who doesn't know behind the scenes, we do talk about this stuff like in our own time for hours. We've done it a few times, haven't we? Where we've done a live stream. ended the live stream and then continued talking. Or even we've just met for coffee online before, haven't we, during lockdown, and we've ended up chatting for 4 or 5 hours, and someone's gone off to go and do a day's work and come back and the other people are still talking. Mike, what have you got coming up on your channel?
I am sort of in the middle of. I often do videos about free plugins of different types. I'll do the best free drum plugins. I'll do the best free whatever. And so what I've done is, for this video that I'm in the middle of, I'm doing the best free plugins of all time ever, in my opinion. And they are both effects plugins and instrument plugins like VSTIs, and I'm using them all in one song. So I've composed this, not a song, a piece of music that I've written, and the idea was to try and get them all. I don't know why I did this, just to keep me interested, I guess.
That sounds like a lot of work to do all that.
It was a lot of work, but it's good fun, and it doesn't. I mean, it seems like a good idea. Then you realise, well, this song doesn't really need that plug-in or whatever, but I'm trying to try to wedge it in there.
Them in.
Shoehorning them in. But I just thought it'd be fun for people who are starting out and they just want one spot to get what I think are the best free things. And there's some incredible free things out there. And some of these are not new at all. They're things that I've perhaps been using for years, and they've just stood the test of time. So that's what I've got going there. I've also got a video half done about the Audient ASP 800, which is coming up. So there's a little bit about
that's got kind of in the chat.
Yeah, I'm kind of combining that with just showing people how actually to use ADAT. We often talk about ADAT and, this interface has got ADAT, but I'm just running through how to set it up and deal with, the sync and all that kinds of things. What a master, when it's a master, when it's a slave, what kind of difference that makes. In the particular example that I'm using, I'm not using a word clock, but I will be touching upon that a little bit as well. And for those watching, if you can use the word clock, much better. It's got much higher resolution than ADAT for timing stuff. But going into that a little bit, that's fun. And then lastly, you guys will have seen on my show a guy called Dan from the channel Lonely Rocker. He's helped me to put together a little video where I'm doing. I'm looking at the Audient Sonos, which is a guitar. Sonos or Sonor? I should get it right before I review it, shouldn't I? It's an audio interface which actually has a valve or a tube, whichever part of the world you're from, in it. It's a guitar one, and it's got that sort of amp stage in it that you would normally have in a guitar amp, which I think is really fascinating. And because I'm not much of a metal or rock guitarist, Dan's put together some really cool. He sent me the dry tracks, and I'm going to be reamping them through the Sonos to demonstrate, because the Sonos has got some amp sims, if you like, or amps and cabinets on board. It's not designed for vocals or anything like that, so it's got that DSP effects on board, and they're really good as well. So that's some of the things I've got coming up. Great fun.
Sounds good.
Cool. I just have to mention that we are not endorsed by Shure, but we all have Shure SM7Bs.
Yes.
Now, I would like to point out that I was the first one to get it, therefore I was the smartest, and then these two have blatantly copied me because I have fantastic audio on my channel.
Yes.
I know watch your videos,
The only comeback that could have had.
Where's your headphones, Ed? Where's your decent headphones?
Well, you got me back. Yeah. Well, I've not got my free pay yet. Did you guys get them? Oh, no, let's not discuss that. No, I'm still on these that I paid for. Actually, the video for these, I did an unboxing video to try, because unboxing was popular about 1.5 years ago, and a mate of mine ripped me for it. He just made loads of fun about the concept, and that I was even trying it on YouTube. And that video sat on, no joke, for about 3 months, sat on 27 views. I think maybe it went up to 45 over 3 months. And then all of a sudden I checked back and it had like 10,000 views. So I was like, wow, okay, interesting. So I need to get on this Olo brand, but no one is sure and not endorsing or sponsoring this live stream. However, we do use them. Have either of you two guys heard the Earthworks Icon dynamic microphone? I believe Warren did a thing on it on Produce Like a Pro, and it sounded so much better than the SM7 somehow.
Really? Wow.
Never tried them.
I mean,
never tried them.
Well, I've not tried one because A, they won't send me one for free, and I'm at a point where unless I get stuff for free, not reviewing it. Wow, I shouldn't say that online, should I?
No, you shouldn't really say that. Anyway, you've said it now. Cat's out of the bag.
There you go. Anyone who's got this far into the live stream will know that little secret. No, videos are a lot of work, so gone are the days where I'm going to be doing stuff. No, I've got a couple of things coming up that are my own interest.
I actually bought my SM7B because it's a reference microphone, because it's so much useful. I think you need to have one for reference, but also for my studio, right? So when I have a loud rock or metal singers or people grunt and stuff like that, this is an excellent microphone for that.
I think also it's got a character that helps it sit in the mix really well. I always rave about this little bad boy, the JZ V67, which is it's just the one for me for everything. And that's got a character, like I've compared it to the Neumann U87, and I'd say it's equally as clear and detailed, but that has a character that helps vocals and anything really just sit in a mix. I think the SM7B has that. I think compared to the Earthworks Icon, it's quite noticeable. Maybe the Earthworks Icon is smoother, possibly more modern. This is an old microphone now, but this just has something that sits things in a mix beautifully.
Yeah, I think about sitting it in the mix. I really like it for backing vocals, because usually when you're using a large diaphragm condenser, it has that really crisp quality to it, which is great like as Marlon said, somebody yelling into a microphone, a dynamic is great for them. But for regular other singers, that crisp nature is really great for keeping the lead vocal present. But then again, getting it right at the source, when you want those backing vocals or those harmony vocals just to be stepped back a little bit, I think it has a way of smoothing them off, which makes them a little less present in a way, which I find quite useful.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah. It also really brings down to the point of using different gear for different sources to make your mix better at the source and make the entire mix session easier.
Can I ask you? We were talking about headphones a moment ago, and Marlon, I want to ask you a question. How do you feel about the idea? This is controversial. Of, say, vocalists recording vocals without any headphones.
Oh, I do that a lot. I do that a lot, actually. Yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do both.
Do you mean with live monitors in the room?
Yeah, I actually, if you have a dynamic microphone or just any microphone which is cardioid, so which blocks a lot of sound coming from the back.
Yeah.
If you just put a singer in front of a speaker and just let the music play and let them do their own thing, usually you can get a good performance out of them. It depends a bit on the singer, though, what they're used to. But you have to imagine that a lot of singers are used to sing via old-fashioned monitors on the floor. So it's way more in what they're used to.
I mean, how far are we going back that people would be monitoring with monitors in a studio on the floor?
A lot.
No,
actually, no. That's if you have to work a lot with amateur musicians, that is basically
from a live point of view. Yeah.
No, in rehearsals as well. In rehearsal rooms as well.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. So surely in the studio, people want to go down the headphone route because it's so much better.
No, actually, you would be amazed how the performance will actually improve if they can sing without headphones and listen over speakers. It also has to do.
I'm really interested in this
because what I want to do just quickly is give a good plug to Audient here, and someone I don't know how to layer this out properly. Let's do that. So this StreamYard's not working the way I hoped it would. So anyone who has tried an Audient interface will know that their ID mixer software is really good for routing headphone mixers. and I've got a couple of videos on the ID stuff. And what really impresses me about this compared to all the other audio interfaces sub $300 is the headphone mixing flexibility. Now, with the Audient ID 4 and 1.4, using the Audient ID software, you can route various outputs from your DAW. So, for example, I can route the drums, or the drum bus, the guitar bus, the vocal bus, or if you know whatever instrument you're not recording, and you can balance those, and you can set a really good headphone level for each instrument. And I love this about the Audient interfaces. I just wanted to say that.
I do that within Cubase. To make my headphone mixes, if I use headphone mixes.
Well, yes. Oh, there, good work, Mike. Good work. Mike's beautifully modeling that. Yeah, I agree, but that's if you're monitoring through your DAW. But then you start faffing with latency now, and then we open up a huge can of worms that bores me to tears. So I don't want to go into that. But, if you want direct monitoring with a really good mix, you can do that with the ID software. See, now this is an example of Mike's. This is how Mike gets his beautiful buttery B-roll in his videos. That's exactly what he does.
Okay. I've always got one sitting here, because it's really good for doing things like live streaming. Really straightforward and easy to use.
Yeah. Who would want a? Yeah. I'll get rid of that thing, Marlon. Put that in the bin.
The most popular audio interface is in his hands.
Probably, yeah.
It is. It's the most sold one worldwide.
But I know you're not being sponsored, but just you're going to say I love Audient stuff. I absolutely love everything I've tried by Audient so far.
No, this competition was sponsored by Audient.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Well,
the quality of the preamps alone is just really good.
Yeah, and they offered actually to provide that audio interface. I didn't really say anything, and Chris, who's an absolute gentleman, offered that. So thank you, Chris, for your hard work, and congratulations, Chris, if you watch this on the playback, for your new baby. What else were we going to talk about? I think we should give. I can't speak, so let's get to the end of this show as quickly as we can. Let me just reiterate who the winners were. Congratulations to Nikolai, who won the plugin package. I will email you probably tomorrow. Well done, Jerome Brownell, who's won the drum recording package. I so hope you write music in a genre that I can play. If not, we'll have fun. But with your permission, I would hopefully get a video out of that as well, and that can promote your music. But we will discuss that. Absolutely no problem if you're not up for that. And the recording package went to Wasifia Rahman, who's a name I've not heard on the channel before, so I'm interested to speak to you. Congratulations on those. Shameless plug. If you would like some bespoke drum recordings, please go to edthorne.com. I've just got this whole new drum studio set up, and I'd love to record for you guys. If the price looks a bit expensive, get in touch anyway. There's a reason for that, and we can maybe accommodate something. Thanks for entering the competition. Book your sessions now. I'm just going through all the little banners I've got. I do like this banner feature in StreamYard. Get your free plugins now. Remember, claim your free H-Comp plugin. The link is in the description below. Thank you to Waves for putting that up as well. Let's go for a really shameless Waves plugin banner. There we go. I mean, how professional is this show? Come on, Mike. Are you taking notes on how to make this as good as possible?
Wonderful. I love the way it covers your face. Actually, it's nice.
That's not an accident. This is my favourite one, and maybe that one because that'll annoy Mike if it's yellow.
It's the wrong shade of yellow. It's really...
I know it's the wrong shade of yellow. It's the better shade.
I think
of
it's
yellow.
some sort of mustard
yellow
thing going there. Yeah, just ugly yellow you've got there. Yeah.
Mike, isn't there a special color of yellow which is regarded the most ugly color ever?
I don't know why you're asking me. I just picked a yellow. I think
no,
I stole
because
it from someone,
because now we can make fun of Ed because he used that color. I think.
Well, that is he found it. He found the most ugly yellow. Yeah, it's moldy mustard.
I didn't. My graphic
moldy
designer
mustard.
did. I like it. I like it. I think it's got a charm and a character, much like you, Mike.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh.
When we do meet, feel free to shag me. I don't mind.
Moldy yellow. That's a good one.
Right. Well, on that note, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for joining the live show. Thanks to everyone for getting me to 10,000 subscribers. Literally couldn't have done it
Yay.
without you. Let's all get Marlon to 10,000 subscribers soon as well. Links for their channels are now in the description below. Please go and subscribe to those guys. You will get some wonderful content, and you'll be joining, further expanding your YouTube community, which is positive and supporting, as I hope you've got out of this live stream today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for getting this far. Some of you have literally been here for 2 hours. You guys are definitely my favorites. Mike, we wish you a swift recovery with your leg. That is very true. And Marlon, what do we wish for you?
Don't wish me anything. I'm happy with that. Don't mind.
And I'm just wishing for a day off, so I'm going to be happy tomorrow. Right, it has been emotional. Mike, thanks for joining.
My
Good
pleasure,
getting
mate.
to 100K.
My absolute pleasure.
I'll see you soon. Marlon, great to see you, buddy. Thanks for your help with the test stream yesterday, and I look forward to seeing your next videos. And as for the rest of you, it has been emotional. I'm just going to pull up some branding because I can. There we go. Let's go back to the moldy mustard yellow. It's been emotional. Thanks for getting me to 10K. Congratulations to the winners. I will email you in the next day or so, and those prizes will get shipped out directly to you, and the licenses will get put into your inboxes. Remember to get the free Waves plugin. You have 24 hours. You now have 22 hours because it's 24 hours from 2 p.m. when this started. So 22 hours to go and reclaim your free Waves plugin. Thank you to Audient for hosting this competition. Thank you for Waves for sponsoring this live stream. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing and consuming the content. I look forward to hearing from you all very soon. It's been emotional. I'm Ed Thorne. Thanks for watching.